It's Tuesday, December 12. A committee has been established to look at ATM safety. In business news, company executives make stock market moves. Regionally, President of the Caribbean Union of Teachers addresses growing trend of teacher migration. And in sports, Reggae Boys captain Andre Blake gives back. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Jamaica Bankers Association, JBA, has established a committee to examine the safety framework for local automated teller machines, or ATMs. President of the JBA and CEO of Scotia Group Jamaica, Audrey Tugwell Henry, says this is part of the collaborative steps being taken by local banks to improve safety. The last payment system bulletin published by the Bank of Jamaica in June showed that the country has 816 ATMs installed. Successful and foiled attempts to rob ATMs and the security teams that service them in recent times have led to unserviced automated teller machines at certain times across the country, affecting businesses and households. Millions of dollars have been lost. Several banks have advised customers to use alternative options such as online and mobile banking, as well as point-of-sale machines where possible. With the implementation of the Data Protection Act, school principals in Jamaica are being encouraged to ensure they follow provisions under the Act to enhance teaching and avoid heavy fines for breaches. Here's more in this report from Danita Rodney.
Jamaica's Data Protection Act, which came into effect on December 1, provides greater safeguards for the handling of personal information for Jamaicans held in physical or electronic form. This legislation was passed in 2020 and is set to transform the ways organizations manage personal data, including the collection, storage, utilization, disclosure, and disposal. Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams, while giving a keynote address at the handover of a smart room at the Homestead Primary and Infant School in St. Catherine recently, called on school administrators to enhance their teachings with the use of technology and in the administration of the schools. The Education Minister said that great emphasis is being placed on what the law covers, how the data is secured, who has access to it and who it is passed on to, and as such, school principals should ensure that they are in compliance with provisions under the new Data Protection Act to avoid heavy fines in case of data breaches. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
The area once known as the wickedest city on earth, Port Royal, is going through the nomination process that could see it being added to the list of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, made the announcement while addressing the 65th anniversary service of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust on the weekend. Minister Grange says that a file containing the management plan, maps and other important information supporting the nomination will be submitted at the end of this month. Minister Grange explains, quote, "The final submission of the nomination is to be done at the end of January in 2024, when we will know if that site will be declared by UNESCO," end quote. Those who have heard of the stories from the 1600s often visualize images of marauding pirates, daring naval conquests, looting, riches, destruction, and devastation. What is now a quiet fishing village was once the base of famous seafaring names of the age, such as Captain Henry Morgan, who attacked and plundered the poorly defended Spanish ports of the region. Port Royal was destroyed by an earthquake in 1692 when a large portion of the town fell into the sea. About 2,000 people died as a result of the tremor. Minister Grange says her team is also looking at nominating the Cockpit Country and the Seville Heritage Park Museum. Jamaica's first World Heritage Site, the Blue and Jonquil Mountains, was inscribed to UNESCO's World Heritage List on July 3, 2015. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, with responsibility for water, environment, climate change, and the blue and green economies, Senator Matthew Samuda, says Jamaica is not merely a spectator in the fight against climate change. He says we are active participants. He shared those words as he presented Jamaica's national statement at the 28th Conference of Parties in Dubai recently. He told attendants that Jamaica is accelerating plans to increase its use of renewable energy sources, targeting approximately 30% reduction in carbon emissions by 2023.
This we will achieve by the transition of our energy production from a fossil fuel base to a renewable contribution from 18% currently to 50% in 2030. We have also commenced the electrification of our government fleet, starting with 100 buses to be delivered in 2024, with other sectors to follow.
He urged world leaders to bolster international cooperation to facilitate the transfer of green technologies to developing nations.
Adaptation is a cornerstone of Jamaica's resilience strategy. The vulnerable small island developing states like Jamaica bear disproportionate the burden of climate impacts. We call for increased support to enhance our adaptive capacity, especially in the areas of water resource management, agriculture, health, and infrastructure. Keeping in mind that 2023 is currently on track to be the hottest year on record, underscores the urgent need for increased adaptation action.
He says Jamaica is now preparing its national adaptation plan.
And we are exploring initiatives at the local and subnational levels. It is imperative that adaptation financing must be the high point of COP28 and becomes more accessible and tailored to the specific needs of the most vulnerable nations. Jamaica is pleased to know that the Loss and Damage Fund is operationalized, and we do thank those who have contributed.
He urged others to contribute to the Loss and Damage Fund that will assist developing countries in coping with the unavoidable consequences of climate change, such as the displacement of communities and the loss of biodiversity. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
In this week's Living Healthy report, we look at preventing chronic illnesses through healthy lifestyle and behavior change. You have to be disciplined and intentional about your eating, especially during the Yuletide season. Stay with us. We'll hear more on the topic from Dr. Elizabeth Rose Johnson, Director of Medical Weight Loss and Aesthetics.
God put food on the earth to nourish us. He did not put bread on the earth. Bread does not grow on a tree. Crackers don't grow on a tree. So if those things don't grow and we eat them and they're processed, they're probably not that good for us because we are not evolved as a species to handle highly processed foods.
So what's so bad about carbs in food like bread and crackers?
Would be the water, crackers, and the bread, because you have taken a grain of wheat. And wheat now is not wheat that was available 50, 60 years ago because of the genetic modification. Wheat is a simpler product. But if you were a caveman and you had some wheat, we didn't have complex machinery that would grind the grains down into the finest powder, so fine it's finer than salt. Did you know that flour will rise your blood sugar faster and higher than sugar? Because it's so fine. So even when we say, oh, whole wheat, whole grain flour, the molecules of the grain part, the whole wheat part, and the molecules of the fiber are the same size. So that fiber that we say is whole wheat is no longer acting as a way to attenuate how fast the body can absorb the sugar in the flour, because God bless what the fiber is. The fiber is no longer fiber. The fiber is as fine as the flour. So if you were a caveman and you were taking a stone and you would pound the wheat and you'd get it to a point where it's processed, but it's not highly processed, and you make some bread with that, that's going to take a long time for your body to break it down to sugar because it's not ultra processed. Now with the flour, in the supermarket is ultra processed. So when you make that into bread, when you eat it, even though it's a nice solid piece of bread and it looks like this is not sugar, when it breaks down, it becomes sugar so quickly in your bloodstream that it doesn't get into the small intestine to be absorbed. It just goes straight into your bloodstream. So maybe in 5 minutes, you have all of that sugar from the bread. And if you're sitting at a desk and your blood sugar is extremely high, if your body doesn't do something about it, you're now diabetic. Because having sugar in your bloodstream is corrosive, it damages your body. That's why diabetics get into trouble. So your body's job is, you see the sugar high, insulin, get going, surge, pick up all of that sugar from the bread, store it as fat. So the same thing happens with crackers or anything else that you're using flour for. But it seems simple because, crackers is a solid thing, whereas sugar, you look at it and say, oh, well, this is bad. But the flour in most baked goods is going to behave in the same way. So when you're going to choose a healthy breakfast, I have patients that tell me they're diabetic and they say, or they want to lose weight, and they say, well, I'm not even eating dinner. All I'm doing, I just eat 6 crackers, water crackers, and I have some tea, and I go to my bed. So what did they do? They went to bed with a bloodstream full of sugar, sleeping so you can't burn off the sugar. So insulin came along and took it and stored it as fat, and tomorrow you wake up heavier. Or if you're diabetic and you're having difficulty, tomorrow morning you wake up with your blood sugars high, and then you say, but I didn't even eat. I missed a meal. You don't want to miss a meal. This is not about not eating. This is about knowing why the crackers is not working well, and then saying, okay, a better option for me would be to do, even if it is some sardines and a half a slice of yam, or even a half a slice of whole grain bread that has, more solids in it, more oats and more green. That would be better than the white flour crackers and the tea, because you're doing your body no good. There's no nutritional benefit to that except sugar, and you don't need the sugar, you're going to your bed.
Time now for the business report.
Good day and welcome to Business Report. I'm Denise Williams. Today we bring you a snapshot of key stories impacting the business landscape. Let's dive in. Company executives make stock market moves. Grace Kennedy Limited, GK, has advised that a senior officer purchased 80,000 GK shares on December 1, pursuant to the 2009 Stock Option Plan long-term incentive scheme of Grace Kennedy Limited. GK has also advised that the company purchased 101,000 GK shares under the Grace Kennedy Share Repurchase Program on November 29, 2023. Jamaican Teas Limited has advised that a director sold 290,000 Jam Tea shares between December 4 and December 7, 2023. Jam Tea has also advised that a director sold 110 Jam Tea shares on December 8, 2023. One-on-One Educational Services Limited, called One on the stock market, has advised that a senior manager sold 15,001 shares on December 5, 2023. Trading on the Jamaica Stock Exchange for December 11, 2023 saw the top advancing stocks. Leading the pack was billboard advertising and training company iCreate Limited, which trades as iCreate. The shares advanced 33%, or up by 23 cents to close at 92 cents, with 3.5 million shares traded. Air conditioning distribution company CAC 2000 Limited, which trades as CAC, advanced by 15%, or upward by 60 cents to close at $4.60, with 11 shares traded. Commercial real estate firm with properties in New Kingston, downtown Kingston, and the Miami airport, PanJam Investment Limited, which trades as PJam, the shares advanced by 9.8%, or jumped by $4.48 to close at $49.76 with 214 shares traded. Now there were declining stocks. Movie theater company Palace Amusement Limited, which trades as PAL, and who is in an ongoing battle with online streaming services for the hearts and minds of movie audiences, declined by 13.95% or fell 18 cents to close at $1.11. Box and Packaging Company, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, which trades as AMG, declined by 13.21% or slipped by 35 cents to close at $2.30. Online learning platform Edufocal Limited, which trades as Learn, declined by 9.38% or went down by 18 cents to close trading at $1.74. Now turning to the Trinidad Stock Exchange. Trading on the Twin Island Republic saw the first tier market registering a volume of 172,000 shares crossing the floor of the TT exchange valued at Trinidad and Tobago dollars 1.3 million. Grace Kennedy Limited was the volume leader in Trinidad with 66,000 shares changing hands for a value of TT $265,000, followed by Trinidad and Tobago NGL Limited with a volume of 48,500 shares being traded for TT $509,000. Now moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the regional stock markets, we turn to the Forex market. On December 11, 2023, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $23 million was bought from Forex traders, while $25 million was sold to Forex traders. Now, Forex traders move the market with high activity of US currency through the economy, and we know that the Christmas season is really driving this activity. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US for $156.10 and bought the US dollar for $154.81. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.49, which represents a profit for Forex traders. The Bank of Jamaica also handled Canadian dollar transactions, yielded a profit for traders of $3.73. The Canadian dollar was sold at $117.34 and bought for $113.61. So the buy and sell rate gives you a profit of $3.73. Now, for those who focused on the British pound, the profit was $7.12. They were selling the British pound for $196.91 and buying the British pound for $189.78. Let's talk about real estate. Limited land space is driving demand in the real estate market. Realtors note that a typical townhouse or single-family home averages anywhere between $450,000 to $650,000, and this is due to a shortage of land for developers to focus on affordable housing. According to the Natural Resources Conservation Authority, NRCA, agriculture extends over 42% of the Jamaican land area. The three principal types of agricultural use are plantation crops grown mostly for export, mixed farming of food crops for domestic consumption and export, and pasture for beef and dairy cattle for local consumption. This shortage of land has led to higher real estate prices, making it even more challenging for low-income earners to purchase homes. Now the tax man cometh. Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, is reminding business persons that their fourth quarter estimated corporate income tax and self-employed statutory payments are due on Friday, December 15, 2023. These include estimated corporate tax, self-employed statutory payments, stamp duty, trade license, withholding tax. Additionally, employers' monthly statutory payroll deductions, SO1, for the month of November are due on December 14th. Credit report tip of the day. 'Tis the season for responsible credit management. As you enjoy the festivities, be mindful of your holiday spending. Set a budget, track your expenses, and consider using cash or debit cards for smaller purchases. Remember, responsible credit use during the holidays can lead to a stress-free new year. Happy holidays and smart spending. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. I appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, a plea for teachers in Barbados and the region to be adequately compensated in a bid to address the growing trend of teacher migration. President of the Caribbean Union of Teachers, Garth Anderson, made the case in his address at the opening of the union's two-day executive meeting in Barbados.
Teachers are moving in droves to perceive greener pastures in North America and Europe, and even within the Caribbean itself. The real issues affecting this migration of teachers cannot be swept under the carpet. We must provide the resources teachers need to carry out their professional duties and equally be justly paid for arguably the most difficult job of impacting the lives of our peoples and ultimately the prosperity of our societies. Too many of our students, and in fact teachers, are being abused physically within our institutions. Acceptable grooming must be an important plank in treating with discipline in our schools. I fully agree that for religious and health reasons, concessions must be made to ensure that students are not discriminated against. However, on the whole, school cannot be a place that anything goes.
Guyana's President Dr. Ifrahim Ali on Sunday reiterated that Guyana's position on the border controversy with Venezuela remains non-negotiable, highlighting that the merit of the case will be determined by the International Court of Justice.
Amid rising tensions fueled by Venezuela's attempts to undermine Guyana's sovereignty, Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali will meet his Venezuelan counterpart Nicolas Maduro in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The meeting will be held on Thursday, December 14 at 10 hours and will be hosted by Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, heads of state of CARICOM, a United Nations Under-Secretary General, and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC. Since the announcement of this meeting, President Ali faced a number of criticisms for agreeing to the meeting. But on Sunday, he made it clear that the border controversy is not up for discussion with Maduro and that he agreed to the meeting in the interest of keeping the region a zone of peace after widespread consultations with the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, lawyers, and agents representing Guyana's case at the International Court of Justice, ICJ.
In that meeting, we'll have a conversation with President Maduro. I've made it very clear that on the issue of the border controversy, Guyana's position is non-negotiable. That is, this is before the ICJ. We expect that good sense will prevail and the commitment to peace, stability, the threat of disruption will cease.
President Ali was on Friday urged to explore the possibility of a meeting with President Maduro during an emergency meeting of the heads of government of CARICOM, and on Saturday, President Ali was approached again by St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. As he acknowledged the continuous support from regional and international partners during the process, the head of state assured Guyanese that development in the country will continue unimpeded. Collaboration and cooperation as well as joint operations will continue as planned, President Ali said.
One Grenadian is among 8 entrepreneurs from the Caribbean who have completed a 5-week Accelerator Hero program. The young entrepreneur explained how this would further enhance his and other businesses.
Kimran Korean is a digital communication consultant and strategist and the only Grenadian among 8 entrepreneurs from the Eastern Caribbean who recently completed a 5-week Accelerator Hero program at Draper University campus in San Mateo, California. The program was held from October 23rd to November 25th, 2023. This was the second cohort of organization of the Eastern Caribbean state startups to participate in the program. GBN engaged the digital communication consultant in an exclusive interview Monday to speak about his experience at the Draper University Hero program.
I mean, it was an amazing experience. I believe that just being there and being able to learn from people who are in the field, who are doing the work. We're talking about people who are currently investing and building companies within the AI space. That experience for me was very surreal, and it's not just about the experience in terms of the learning, but being in the heart of Silicon Valley itself, the hub of technology and innovation. That experience was amazing.
The 5-week Draper University Hero program was an in-person accelerator training course which provided an opportunity for entrepreneurs to explore and learn how to develop businesses from Silicon Valley founders and experts. Korean said the knowledge gained will be passed on.
I'm hoping, what the plan is to really take everything that I've learned and galvanize it under what I'm building and really pass that on to the clients that I work with. But another thing that I do is I do training, workshops, master classes. I design my own courses. So a lot of the things that I've learned is things that I'm like, oh, wow, I believe that the people in the region can definitely learn from these things as well. So in the Caribbean, there is a profound digital skills gap. And one of my aim is to help bridge that digital skills gap by helping to reskill and upskill our existing workforce.
The OECS Commission also provided an opportunity for the entrepreneurs to meet with Dr. Earl Nicholas Brathwaite, who is an outstanding Grenadian technologist, entrepreneur, and the founding managing partner of Celestia Capital, a venture capital firm operating in Silicon Valley.
In sports, Reggae Boys captain Andre Blake will be conducting a 2-day goalkeepers clinic at UWI-JFF Captain Horace Burrell's Center of Excellence on December 14 through to December 15. On both days, the clinic will run from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. He is quoted by the Jamaica Observer saying, "Right now, we're looking at the Manning Cup and the Costa Cup schools. And so we're going to invite 2 goalkeepers from the top 8 schools in the competition for the clinic. This is something that can grow, but it is a start going forward. And again, exciting times are ahead." End quote. The clinic is being supported by Sagicor, UNL Sport, Spectrum System, PowerAid, TrueShake, and more. The 33-year-old footballer has been the #1 choice for Major League Soccer MLS team Philadelphia Union, helping them to several top spots since 2014. Blake was a member of the Jamaica team, which won the Caribbean Cup in 2014 and was runner-up in 2017. And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBC Jamaica. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, we are the People's Station.